Hello everyone. The aim of this video is to help you find good quality references when you are writing a discussion about the spectral data, when you're analyzing spectral data, NMR, mass spectrometry results, infrared results, that sort of data. It is very important that you use good quality references when comparing your spectral results and when analyzing your spectral results to determine if synthesis has been successful, to determine what chemical you're looking at, what chemical those spectra correspond to. Typically, students tend to, if you're analyzing an infrared spectrum, they might have an idea where a carbonyl group appears, or where a phenol group appears, where is a typical band for an amino group from maybe class, one of their lecturers have told them, or a textbook, or they just Google infrared bands, carbonyl, or table of infrared bands. And that is not really good when you are doing a degree, when you're in your second and third year of degree. That's not good enough. That's not what you would do when you are writing a scientific paper, when you're writing a company report. You wouldn't just throw something at Google and accept the first hit. You would be quoting repeatable resources, good quality resources, and especially for scientific research, for scientific writing, scientific papers. So what I'm going to show you today, I will be using the library search facility at Country Christ Church University. You could try this same method using Google Scholar. I'm just using library search because I know that it will prioritize the access we have access to as members of Country Christ Church. So I'm going to share my screen right now and wish me luck. So I'm going to the library search page and I've already logged in. As you can see, is my name here. And I do that straight away just to make sure that I have access to all the possible resources I have access because I am a member of Country Christ Church University. Instead of using the generic search box that appears at the beginning, I go to advanced search. And here I can tailor my search much better to what I'm looking for. You can get really, really fancy with this this search page. I simply use all these words, but you might want to explore exactly. You can choose by language. You can choose exact phrase or particular authors, etc. So let's say I need to analyze an infrared spectrum and I have a carbonyl band. So I think of, okay, so I need to find reference. I know that a carbonyl band is going to appear around 1680, 700, somewhere between the 1680 inverse centimeters to the 1750, 1790 inverse centimeters. But now I need a reference to prove what, to sustain what I have as a sort of general knowledge because I know a bit about infrared spectroscopy. So I try, let's say, carbonyl IR band. And the most important thing is that instead of any format, no, I don't want any format. I want specifically journals, scientific papers. So I click advanced search and I cross my fingers and hope for the best. Look, interesting. Well, the first, you might want to limit your search to English, or you might end up with sources in other languages. But I read this first one, infrared carbonyl bands intensities in this compound with phenols. Okay, I'm going to have a look. Let's see view content and see what is useful. I don't remember. I didn't check the year. 2004. 2004 is good. So, and then I have a look at it. Well, they study this compound, and which is fine. And what can I find? The infrared spectra was recorded here. They recorded a typical range for infrared spectra. They are going to give me different solutions. Oh, look, a single band representing the free carbonyl CO band is found at, and it gives me a range, and then it explores a little with the addition of phenols. So when the carbonyl is near phenols, the intensity of the band decreases, although the position doesn't move. So then again, look, if the concentration of a proton donor is increased, then the band appears slightly at slightly lower inverse centimeters. So again, that helps me. I can compare it with my own results, and it can help me support my theory that that particular band in my infrared spectrum, in the infrared spectrum, that compound is attributable to a carbonyl group. Another thing this paper can give me is the wording, how the data, how the results are presented, how they are described, how they mention the different bands, how they mention how the bands were recorded, and what wavelength, what inverse centimeters were studied. So it's not only, I'm not only benefiting from, specifically I was looking for a carbonyl group, and these researchers were looking at carbonyl groups, but also the way they are talking about the results helps me develop my scientific voice, my academic voice, the way I discuss data. And you can do that with infrared spectra or with mass spectra, anything. And always going to advanced search. If I was, let's say, for example, I'm thinking of the ferrocene, of a compound ferrocene. Sometimes you get lucky, and you might be able to find the compound you're looking at, or a similar one, into the search engine. So let's say that acetyl ferrocene. Look, see if it appears. And again, any format, no, I want specifically journals. So off I go. And I cross my fingers again. No, no. With acetyl ferrocene infrared band, I couldn't find anything. It is worth maybe trying it in Google, because I might be able to find it. Sorry, not Google, Google Scholar. Google is too general, but Google Scholar prioritizes papers, patents, which is what you're aiming for. Okay, let's try ferrocene. I'm not giving up yet. See what I can find. Ferrocene infrared band, and again, I want a journal. Oh, I want journals in my search. And I keep my fingers crossed, and I hope for, okay, ferrocene conjugated donor, maybe it does sound journal molecular structure. It sounds like a very physical chemistry paper. It might not be very useful. I might investigate, because if it came out, it means that it has some infrared. Oh, this could be perfect. Infrared and Raman bands of cyclopentadienyl ligands as indicators of electronic configuration. Okay, cyclopentadienyl, that's ferrocene, infrared and Raman bands. I'm going to click, it's 2015, is reasonably recent. So I'm going to click here and see what it gives me. And again, it might be useful, the information itself, because actually it coincides with the compound I'm looking at. It might be useful for the way they describe the data, that helps me develop the language appropriate for the technique I'm using. And this is another very important thing, that you use the right words for describe an infrared spectrum, the right words to describe a mass spectrum, the right words to describe an infrared spectrum. So here, for example, they have studied ferrocene, and they are annotating on a spectrum of ferrocene. If I'm looking at the acetylferrocene synthesis, the final product hopefully is not ferrocene, because that was the reagent. But again, they show me how they're annotating the spectrum, and it's giving me ideas. It's giving me ideas of specific ideas of what the different bands might correspond to, at least in the spectrum of my reagent, and they're giving me an idea of how they present the data. So this is another paper that I would think, oh yes, this is going to definitely be useful to discuss my results. And I will stop sharing now, but you can do this with anything, with NMR data, with infrared data, with mass spec data, with UV visible spectrophotometry data. Any data that is spectral data, you can find the right reference to discuss your spectral results in this way. And keep in mind that it's not only if you find a similar result. It can be also be also useful if they actually don't coincide with yours. Let's say your carbonyl, it's more likely to be the carbonyl band appears higher or lower than the typical wave numbers mentioned by so and so in their paper. You can still use that as a point of discussion that maybe you don't know the reason, but it seems that your band has not appeared in the same place as these researchers in this paper in the literature. So that's everything. I hope it was useful, and please let me know by email or commenting in the discussion board if you another ways you have to find information, or if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.